Good evening, thank you for joining us on the War Diary. On the 365th day of the war, these are the main highlights of the day at 7 p.m. Beirut time. We begin with the situation in Lebanon, where Israeli operations have continued on Saturday with airstrikes and drone attacks targeting multiple regions in the country. For the first time since the escalation, Israeli drones struck Tripoli, targeting an apartment in the Bedawi camp, a residential area in the north. The strike killed Hamas leader Said al-Ali along with his wife and 2 children. In the southern suburbs of Beirut, Israeli airstrikes hit areas once again following warnings for civilians to evacuate certain buildings in the Shuaifat al-Umara district, which Israel believes houses Hezbollah facilities. The strikes also targeted locations near Al-Qa'im Mosque, Burj al-Baraj, Nahar Tahrik, Ruwais, Al-Ajniha al-Khamsa, and Braijer. Significant damage was reported, but there was no immediate report of casualties. Meanwhile, the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, stated on Saturday that it would not abandon its positions in southern Lebanon despite what it described as an Israeli request to relocate. UNIFIL stated, and I quote, "We continue to urge Lebanon and Israel to recommit to Security Council Resolution 1701 in actions and not just words, as the only viable solution to restore stability in the region," end of quote. As for the latest human toll, according to the Lebanese Ministry of Health, 2,036 were killed and 9,573 were injured due to Israeli attacks on the country since October 8. In other news, several Hezbollah sources said on Saturday that contact with Hashim Safieddin, believed to be the group's next leader, had been lost following Israeli strikes this week. In the region, in Palestine specifically, for the first time in weeks, the Israeli army warned residents to evacuate part of central Gaza on Saturday, saying the military was preparing to use great force against Hamas fighters in the area. Additionally, medics and rescuers said Israeli fire killed at least 12 people across Gaza early on Saturday. In Syria, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met his Syrian counterpart Bassam al-Sabbagh in Damascus on Saturday before holding talks with other officials. He said, and I quote, "The main issue is a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and Lebanon, and there are proposals to achieve this," end of quote. The Iranian minister also stressed the importance of maintaining close regional coordination, particularly with Syria. The human toll since the start of the war at 7 p.m. Beirut time. According to the latest figures from the Gaza Ministry of Health, at least 41,825 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli assaults and bombings. In other news, an Israeli official told AFP on Saturday that the military is preparing a response to the Iranian missile barrage that targeted Israel earlier this week. However, he did not elaborate on the nature or timing of the response. Israeli newspaper Haaretz, quoting the military, reported that the military's response will be significant. The statement comes as U.S. CENTCOM Commander General Eric Kurilla landed in Israel today. On the diplomatic front, French President Emmanuel Macron urged a halt to arms deliveries to Israel, which has been criticized over the conduct of its retaliatory operation in Gaza. During an interview, he said, "I think that today the priority is that we return to a political solution, that we stop delivering weapons to fight in Gaza," stressing that France is not sending any weapons to Israel. On the humanitarian front, UNHCR Chief Filippo Grandi visited Lebanon on Saturday to show solidarity with those impacted by Israeli bombardment, calling for international support amid a terrible crisis. That's it for today's recap. See you tomorrow for another roundup of the situation. Until then, stay connected on our website www.thisisbeirut.com.lb and on all our social media platforms.